Hello everyone, this is HammerTron here with a new action figure review for you. This time I am reviewing the Animal Planet set Extreme Dino Adventure. So this is an exclusive through Target, and this one I actually ordered online. I didn't look at it in the store, and what I had ordered was a little bit different than this. So apparently these are considered very cheap and interchangeable as long as the price point is the same. It seems to be either any one of them will do, which is okay. I didn't have this one. I'll have to try to get the other one I was looking for, but this looks okay. It's an open package, so we can inspect it before we buy it, unless we order it online. And based on my experience, I want to be very careful about the action figure. I'm afraid the joints will fall apart on it. Still looks kind of neat, however, it is a cheap and inexpensive set, so the quality is probably not going to be very good. It does have a little action feature here. We can move down the arm and turn the head, and it says the jaw opens and closes. Well, it just hangs open. So here is the front of the package. There is the top of the package. There's the bottom. This is made or distributed by Blip Toys. Discovery owns the Animal Planet logo. The date on this package is 2021. I think Animal Planet used to be an exclusive brand to Toys R Us, but Toys R Us is no longer in business, so I don't know if this particular set had been released through Toys R Us before or not, but the date on this one is 2021. Here is one side of the package. Here is the other side of the package. I kind of like the picture there, very big and scary. Here is the back, where we can see all the contents. The volcano with the cave, the adventurer, a couple of dinosaurs, and some small pieces there. So I'll open this up and review the set itself in just a moment. Here are all the items on the sprue. I think we've seen all of these before in the previous Animal Planet set I reviewed, where we have this kind of flat Triceratops skull and a little flag and base for the flag. It looks like some tools and equipment for digging up fossils. So there's a dinosaur footprint and an egg. So I think our adventurer is a paleontologist. Here are the individual items that come with the set. We have the Triceratops skull, but it's very flat. All these other items indicate a paleontologist doing some field work, finding some footprints and eggs, and he has a little flag that he can post. On one side it has a dinosaur skull, the other side is blank. So these accessories are kind of nice to set a scene, but they're all very plain with no painting. And the only two items that can be held in his hand, and that's barely held in his hand, is looks like a brush and a rake. And it's a little hard to get them in the hands and make sure that they stay in the hands. But still, it's a nice extra feature to help set a scene. Here is the paleontologist action figure. Let's see how tall this is. Looks like maybe 4¼ inches tall, or almost 11 centimeters tall. So it's a nice height. It's a bit bigger than a 1/18 scale action figure, but it still looks nice. So I think this is the same mold of the figure that we got with the previous Animal Planet set. So last time I had an arm fall off while I was handling it within 20 or 30 minutes of taking it out of the package, so I hope that doesn't happen here. But I think it looks nice. Nicely sculpted head with the hat a little bit to the side, so it adds a little character. And some nice sculpting on the body here and the arms, although it looks like there's a watch, but that's not painted, but at least it's sculpted there. And they've sculpted the clothes and down to the boots. And on the bottom, they're actually little peg holes. And they sculpted the rest of it. So it's a very shiny plastic, so I think that means that there's really no painting on it. Perhaps the flesh tones are painted. So I think it looks alright. It might serve the purpose as long as it doesn't fall apart. Let's take a look at the articulation here. We can just turn the head. We can move the arms up and down. So the shoulders are okay. And we can bend the elbows. Now this one is very loose, so I'm afraid this one might fall apart. If it does fall apart, we should see if we can keep track of this little piece of metal there. Maybe that'll fall out, so if we can keep track of that, we can put the arm and the metal back together. Might not work very well, but at least it'll be together. And then the legs move up and down, and we can bend back, and we have knee joints. So very simple articulation, and it looks alright. I think eventually the joints will get loose pretty quickly on this particular action figure. So again, the weakest points would be the elbows, and those are most likely to fall apart. I think the rest of it might stay together a little better. Here is the smaller dinosaur that we get in this set. This dinosaur is brightly colored. That might be accurate. Who really knows about the dinosaurs? So it looks nice. Now there's no articulation on this dinosaur, but let's take a look at how tall this is. Maybe a little more than 2 inches tall. And from the mouth or snout to the tail, it's about 5 inches long. And at the widest point, maybe about 1 3/4 inches wide. So it's a small little dinosaur, and seems to be nicely sculpted. I don't think they're trying for accuracy. They're just making something that looks like a dinosaur. So it's a little bit pliable at the hands there, and the feet, the tail just a little bit, just mostly pretty stiff, so that's nice. And they did sculpt in the teeth, and I like the painting. So it looks like they put in some effort into making it look nice. So it's too bad there's no articulation, but at least it looks kind of nice. And for the most part it balances okay. I think we can knock it over very easily. Now it looks like we have peg holes on the bottom, but I'm not sure those are meant to be peg holes. These pieces here were screwed into the bottoms of the feet through the cardboard in the open package, so those holes were just so it could be held in the package, in the open package. But I think it looks alright. Let's see, it is smaller than the paleontologist there, although not something you'd want to mess with. Here is the larger dinosaur. So this one looks pretty nice. Let's take a look at the dimensions. So it looks like it's standing maybe 5 1/4 inches tall to the top of the mouth there. To measure the length, it will balance on the 2 feet there. So it looks like it is a little bit more than 8 inches long. So that's pretty nice. And then about 2 3/4 inches wide at the widest point. So it's a nicely sized dinosaur. Now, this is definitely very lightweight and hollow. I'm not surprised that it's hollow because it has this action feature here. We can move this arm and it just turns the head. That's about all it does. And the jaw has an articulation point, but it's just so loose that it can only hang open. We can turn the head by itself. This other arm moves, and the legs can only go that far forward and that far back. It's very hollow legs. Now these holes are not peg holes. Those holes are for these parts. These were screwed into the bottom of the feet to hold the dinosaur in the open package through the cardboard. So it's kind of interesting. Looks like the sculpting is pretty nice. It looks alright. We can certainly recognize it as a dinosaur. And there's a little bit of painting on this. So, not the best looking dinosaur, but it is a very low price toy, so I think it's good enough for what it is, assuming that it holds up. It's just very hollow, so I think if we're not gentle with it, it's going to fall apart very, very soon. So as long as we're gentle with it, it should last a while. But I do appreciate the attention to detail. They at least sculpted in the teeth, and they've done some painting on it. So they did put some effort into it, even though they made it as cheaply or as inexpensively as possible. So let's see what it looks like next to the paleontologist and the little dinosaur. So I think these are nice little dinosaurs to create a little diorama. Here is our volcano with the cave underneath as our diorama piece, or part of the playset. So looks like it would be something that we have in the distant background, although we could play with it up close. I think the dinosaur or the paleontologist would use the cave, but let's take a look at this piece first. So looks like it's a very simple sculpture, so not a whole lot of detail. And then the lava up here was very bright and shiny, which in certain light might be alright. It would make it kind of glow, so that's nice. And then we have bits of rock hanging down over the cave. Now, this thing is hollow, and we do see a couple of screws up here, so some of this lava is just an extra plastic piece screwed on. So it's pretty flat, it's very simple. A couple of holes here. Those holes were for these parts to hold this thing in through the cardboard in the open package. So not the most realistic looking volcano or mountain or cave, but it might serve its purpose. Although the paleontologist is too big to walk through the cave. He could crawl through, I think. Although I'm not sure I'd want to hang out in a cave in an erupting volcano. It just doesn't seem like a safe place to be. So kids playing with this might get the wrong idea about the way the real world works. So there's the paleontologist. Here is the smaller dinosaur, and this one can't really walk through there. It's a really tight fit. And then the larger dinosaur simply can't go through the cave at all. But it does make a nice display if we imagine that this thing is far off in the distance. Here we have this Animal Planet set next to the 4-inch Jonesy action figure from the Fortnite series by Jazzware, and a 4-inch action figure from another Animal Planet set. I think I prefer this Animal Planet set adventure action figure. It just looks better with the painting and the sculpting. Here we have this Animal Planet set with Marvel Legends Mr. Fantastic action figure at 6 inches and the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin White Ranger action figure at 6 inches. Both of those are made by Hasbro, and they are a bit big for this playset. Here we have the Fortnite Legendary Series Havoc action figure, 6 inches by Jazzware, and the Masters of the Universe Masterverse He-Man action figure at 7 inches by Mattel. And I think the He-Man action figure would work very well as a giant, primitive giant battling against dinosaurs. So that works well with the set. The HammerTron Sledgehammer rating for this set is, I think it's okay. It is cheap and inexpensive, and I think the quality is really not that good, but it is in an open package, so we do have the opportunity to inspect it before we buy it. So we can decide if we really want this or not based on the quality we think it has when we can kind of touch it and play around with it. So I really can't give it a low rating because so far all the pieces have held up. Nothing has fallen apart in my hands yet, so so far it's lasted, although it's only been about half an hour or so since I've opened it up to play around with it. But so far I think it is an okay set. Thank you for watching my review video. Remember to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with my future reviews. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.